period. Like, are you kidding me? Larry Bird in this era? Are you kidding me?
If Larry Bird was playing today, he would still be the MVP of the league.
Larry Bird isn't just some throwback name from old highlight tapes. He's the original blueprint for straight domination, the type of player who would walk into today's NBA and bend it to his will. The way he read the floor, predicted movement, and delivered under pressure was way ahead of his era. If Bird laced up in 2026, the league wouldn't change him. He would change the league. Bird had the full package: deep shooting range, elite basketball IQ, passing vision so sharp it could slice through any defense. Modern teams beg for spacing and ball movement, and Bird mastered that before it was trendy. While a lot of today's stars lean heavy on speed and vertical bounce, Bird played a different game. He used his mind like a weapon. He didn't need to jump over anyone. He outworked them, outsmarted them, and owned every inch of the court. He didn't chase highlights. He controlled outcomes. That's what made him scary. Legends and current stars all admit one thing: Larry Bird's competitiveness was mental warfare. He could get inside your head, talk his talk, then back it up possession after possession. Every screen, every cut, every jumper had purpose. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Players across generations break it down clearly. Bird's skill set, mindset, and versatility would make him a nightmare matchup today. He'd hunt mismatches, slow the pace when needed, then speed it up when it suited him. He'd turn the game into chess, and he'd already be 3 moves ahead before the defense even reacts. Larry Bird wasn't just dominant in the 80s. He was built for any era. Drop him into today's league, and you'd feel his impact immediately. Isiah Thomas, who battled some of the toughest competitors ever, didn't hesitate when asked about Bird in the modern game. Thomas said if Bird suited up today, he'd still be MVP caliber. No debate. Isiah said, Bird's greatness wasn't about the decade. It was about his skill, intelligence, and relentless drive. He made it clear Bird could adjust to any style. Today's NBA is all about spacing, three-point shooting, and pace and space systems. Bird already had that vision locked in. He had the shooting touch and playmaking instincts to thrive in that setup without missing a beat.
I think it was Dennis Rodman who recently said that if Larry Bird played today, he'll have to play over in the European League.
If Larry Bird was playing today, he would still be the MVP of the league, and his team would still be winning championships. Now, why do I say that? Because we just watched the Joker, who is very similar to Larry Bird, take his Denver Nuggets team and win the championship. So if I look at these two players and if I'm saying they're similar, then Bird would probably win 2 or 3 championships in this era also.
In this era right now.
Yeah.
Thomas even compared Nikola Jokic's game to Bird's, saying Jokic mirrors that same style and dominance: the calm control, the passing, the ability to take over without forcing it. That comparison speaks loud. And Thomas is confident Bird wouldn't just put up numbers. He'd win championships. He said Bird's leadership and edge would lift teammates and push teams over the top, even against today's elite squads. Isiah believes Bird's IQ and clutch mentality would guide a team straight to a title. Pressure moments wouldn't rattle him. They would fuel him. Bird wasn't built to fit into a system. He was built to lead one. Baron Davis also made it clear why Bird would dominate today, and he didn't just talk about shooting. Baron pointed to Bird's size and strength. At his height, with his balance and toughness, Bird wouldn't get bullied. He'd be the one applying pressure. In a league full of switching defenses and smaller lineups, that plays right into his hands. Guards would be too small to handle him in the post. Wings would struggle with his strength and footwork. Big men would be dragged out to the perimeter, forced to defend his jumper and passing lanes. That's a nightmare matchup across the board. Baron said it straight. Who was actually stopping him? Bird knew how to use his body like a tool. He sealed defenders, absorbed contact, and created space without relying on pure speed.
Period. Like, are you kidding me? Larry Bird in this era? Are you kidding me?
That's what be boiling my blood. But
it'd been more rough though.
For who?
For Larry.
How?
And it starts.
What you mean?
How?
Just the physical capability.
He's 6'10", dude.
That's a lot of 6'10".
Okay.
Nah, it's a lot of that.
And
That's all I'm saying. He birthed that. Don't get me wrong, he birthed it. I'm just saying we hadn't seen it
Who's
then.
going to be matched up against Larry Bird? Karl Anthony Towns.
That's a nightmare, man.
For Karl Anthony.
That kind of physical control isn't common today. Over 4 quarters, that steady pressure wears defenses down. Possession after possession, he'd break them mentally and physically. From Barron's view, if very few people could stop Bird back then, what makes anyone think it would be different now? The rules even favor perimeter skill more today. That only boosts his impact. Kevin Durant didn't grow up watching Bird live, but Bird's reputation followed him everywhere. Coaches brought his name up in film sessions. Analysts compared rising stars to him constantly. Veterans spoke about him like he wasn't just a former player, but a gold standard, not a memory, a benchmark. That's the difference. Larry Bird isn't stuck in history. He's a measuring stick for greatness. And if he stepped onto today's floor, the league would feel it instantly.
Larry Bird, well, not really, he's older, but you grew up kind of knowing the legend of Larry Legend and love for the game and love for practice and love for shooting. I think that we're similar in those areas, but he allowed players like myself to kind of dream big and think big at that position and to do things that traditional small forwards, I guess, or big men weren't doing, and he's one of the first guys you've seen.
The deeper Kevin Durant studied the game, the more obvious it became why Larry Bird's name never faded from the conversation. Bird didn't just play the forward position, he redefined it. Before him, size came with limits. Forwards were expected to score inside and grab rebounds. Creation belonged to guards. That was the structure. Bird shattered it. He passed with sharp precision. He shot from deep like a specialist. He ran entire offenses through patience and decision-making, not speed. He proved that skill combined with size could completely control a game. That shift changed everything. Players like Durant exist in that mold because Bird expanded the blueprint. Long, versatile forwards who can handle, shoot, and create didn't just appear out of nowhere. Bird made it normal. Then he made it necessary. Their styles aren't identical, but the lane was paved years ago. Bird built it. Durant has also spoken about Bird's mentality. Calm, confident, no extra movement, no loud theatrics, just control. Bird showed that dominance doesn't need flash, it needs command. That mindset still echoes through the league today. You see it in players who let their game speak louder than their words. Dominique Wilkins pushes back hard against the idea that Bird benefited from a softer era. In fact, he argues the complete opposite. Wilkins has said Bird competed in one of the most physical periods the NBA has ever seen. Contact wasn't occasional, it was constant. Space wasn't handed out. You had to earn every inch of it. Wilkins made it clear that Bird absorbed heavy hits every night. Hard fouls, body contact on cuts, defenders leaning on him possession after possession, and none of it knocked him off course. Bird still scored. He still facilitated. He still dictated the tempo with toughness and surgical precision. That matters when imagining him in today's league. Now picture him in an era where freedom of movement is protected and spacing is a priority. Wilkins believes Bird would thrive even more. Defenders wouldn't be able to lean on him the same way. Closeouts would be longer. Physical intimidation would be limited by rules designed to promote offense. That's dangerous for the rest of the league. The logic is simple. If Bird dominated when the game was rugged and physical, what happens in a system built around skill and space? The answer feels obvious. When Paul George was early in his career with Indiana, Larry Bird wasn't just a name from banners or history books. He was around the team. He worked with the organization and often stood quietly on the side during practices, watching closely. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. His presence alone demanded respect. One afternoon, George was going through a regular shooting drill. Nothing dramatic, just routine reps. As he reset, he noticed Bird walking toward the exit, dressed for business and clearly on his way out. The moment seemed ordinary, until it wasn't. A loose ball rolled toward Bird. Without breaking stride, he picked it up and launched it. No warm-up, no hesitation, clean release. Straight through the net. That was it. One shot, but it said everything. It wasn't about nostalgia. It wasn't about reputation. It was the ease, the confidence, the muscle memory that never disappeared.
I remember it was after practice, right? And we were shooting around and he's walking out. I've never to this point, I've never seen him play. So we're shooting and he's walking out of the gym about to leave, but the ball rolls over to him. And I'm sure he probably haven't shot the ball in fucking, I don't know, years at this point. So he picks the ball up, bro. shoots that motherfucker cash from 3 too. Like, and he's in slacks. He's in a button down.
Right.
Oh, bro, he cashed that shit and then just smooth walked out, bro.
Bird didn't need a jersey or a crowd to remind anyone who he was. For George, that single moment shifted everything. Bird stopped being just a legend from old footage. He became proof that real greatness doesn't fade. It stays sharp, waiting for the right second to show itself. Lance Stephenson had his own unforgettable Bird story during his time with the Pacers. By then, Bird was long retired and far removed from playing shape. But when he walked into the facility, he moved like he still owned the place. And according to Stephenson, he did. Lance recalled a practice where Bird casually stepped onto the court. No announcement, no buildup. He grabbed a ball and started firing from three-point range. No stretching, no rhythm dribbles, just shot after shot. 10 straight makes. Clean. No rim, no celebration. Stephenson said the entire gym went silent. No jokes, no chatter, just respect. Bird didn't talk. He didn't explain anything. He demonstrated. That was the message. For Lance, that moment captured Larry Bird perfectly. The confidence, the precision, the effortless control. Years after retirement, the touch was still there. The command was still there. Some skills fade with time, his didn't. It was never just a feel-good story about the past. It was a warning. Some greatness doesn't walk away when the career ends. It stays sharp, quiet, and ready to remind everyone what real elite looks like.
The whole team is just stretching, and Larry just walks on the court, like grabbed the ball and started jacking threes, like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I'm looking at everybody. I'm like, do y'all see this right now? And he made like at least 10 in a row threes. Like just walked in, came in, looked at us, was like looking at us stretch and hit like 10 threes in a row and walked off and sat like he ain't do nothing. Like it was regular and folded his legs and just sitting there looking at us. I'm like, yo, this guy's nice.
That's Larry Legend right there.
I'm like, man, that's a legend right there.
Red Auerbach believed Larry Bird's greatness came from something deeper than talent. It wasn't just the shot. It wasn't just the passing. It was his refusal to stay the same. Red said Bird was always adding something new to his game, always searching for another edge. He didn't settle. He evolved. That mindset made him dangerous in any situation. If a defense adjusted, Bird adjusted faster. If teams focused on stopping his scoring, he shifted into playmaker mode. If they crowded his favorite spots, he created new ones. And when his body slowed down over time, his mind sped up even more. That's rare. Auerbach believed Bird's hunger to grow is what kept him dominant year after year. He hated feeling predictable. He hated the idea of being figured out. Red saw it up close. Extra reps in practice, deep film study, tiny tweaks that turned into major advantages. Bird wasn't chasing attention. He was chasing improvement. That drive is exactly why he would thrive today.
Larry Bird was like a Magic Johnson, or a Magic Johnson was like a Larry Bird. They try to add something new every year. They work harder than the rest of them. When practice is over, you could see Larry Bird out there every day, shooting for another 20 minutes, another half hour. If he didn't get enough running, he'd do some laps. He would just work hard. But above all, he was the most highly self-motivated athlete I ever was connected with. Larry Bird was.
The modern NBA demands versatility, awareness, and constant adjustment. Bird lived that life before it became the standard. He didn't wait for trends. He set them. LeBron James has always respected the history of the game. From the start of his career, he studied the legends who shaped basketball, not to relive the past, but to understand greatness. One name kept coming up, Larry Bird. LeBron never played against Bird, but he understood his weight in the sport. So when LeBron tied Bird on the all-time triple-doubles list, his reaction wasn't casual. It was respect. It was recognition. He understood what Bird represented. Larry Bird defined the complete player. He passed like a guard, rebounded like a big, scored from everywhere on the floor, directed teammates like a coach in uniform. He didn't rely on raw athletic dominance. He leaned on vision, timing, strength, and sharp decision-making. That blueprint mirrors today's superstars: versatility, high IQ, impact in every area of the game. So when Bird's name comes up, LeBron doesn't label him as just a shooter or just a Celtics icon. He sees him as a prototype, one of the earliest versions of the modern superstar.
Played till he couldn't play no more, obviously. We know that. He just played till he
literally couldn't play the game no more. He gave everything he had. And for young guys that don't know him, you know, they think of Larry Bird as a jump shooter. But he was so much more than that. He was a passer. He averaged double-digit rebounds. He defended, he took charges. And, you know, just a straight-up complete basketball player, and me as a small forward.
Decades later, Bird still represents winning basketball at its purest. Joe Dumars took it even further. He didn't just call Bird smart, he called him a savant, someone operating on a completely different mental level. According to Dumars, guarding Bird wasn't about reaction, because reacting meant you were already beat. By the time a defender adjusted, Bird had already made the next read. He knew where the help defense would slide from. He knew who would overcommit. He knew where the open teammate would be before the defense even realized it needed to rotate. That's control. Dumars explained that Bird didn't just see the play in front of him, he saw the sequence. If you took away his shot, he hit you with a precise pass. If you stayed attached to shooters, he scored. If you hesitated for even a second, the possession was finished. No wasted movement, no panic. Just decision stacked on decision until the defense cracked.
He was he was a savant on the court, like just a savant, like 2 plays ahead on everything. And so I was just talking about this maybe 3 or 4 days ago, how hard it was to go into Boston and beat a team when Bird is in his prime.
That's what made Bird special. Not speed, not vertical explosiveness. It was pure processing power. He wasn't playing the same game as everyone else. He was thinking ahead of it, and that's why he would dominate today's NBA. For one simple reason, the modern game finally matches his strengths: spacing, skill, versatility, quick reads. The league shifted toward the exact traits he mastered decades ago. Larry Bird wasn't ahead of his time by accident. He built himself that way, and if you drop him into today's era, he wouldn't need to adjust much at all. The game already adjusted toward him. These aren't trends Larry Bird would need to study or adjust to. They were already built into his game. Shooting from anywhere on the floor, that was normal for him. Punishing switches without rushing, he did that in his sleep. Running the offense as a forward, he mastered that before it became popular. He read defenses in real time and created advantages without needing endless isolation plays or elite speed. In a league obsessed with efficiency and mismatches, Bird would feast. Every switch would be a problem. Every defensive mistake would cost you. And defensively, possession after possession, his anticipation would still stand out. Bird understood angles. He understood timing. He understood team defense at a deep level. He didn't gamble for flashy steals. He disrupted rhythm. He cut off options before they even developed. That kind of intelligence doesn't fade with time. It travels across eras. What truly separates Bird is mentality. He competed on every single possession. He adjusted constantly. He studied weaknesses and attacked them over and over until teams mentally cracked. That mindset fits today's non-stop high-pressure game perfectly. Adjustments happen fast now, but Bird adjusted even faster. Larry Bird wasn't great because of the decade he played in. He was great because he understood basketball on a deeper level than most players ever will. Put him in today's NBA, with modern spacing, freedom of movement, and heavy three-point focus, and his value only increases. This isn't about looking back at old highlights. This is about translation. Skill translates. IQ translates. Competitive fire always translates. Larry Bird wouldn't be trying to catch up to today's stars. They'd be trying to figure out how to slow him down. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment and let me know. How dominant would Larry Bird really be in today's league? And I'll see you in the next one.